What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily Dad Trick. I am absolutely mind blown at this news that we got yesterday. I'm sure you've heard it by now. If you're a Disneyland fan, I was just speechless when I heard this news. Just as we thought it couldn't get any better, and Disneyland announced that they were going to be opening April 30th, we thought that was, the best news that we could possibly get until yesterday. Disneyland dropped a absolute bombshell on the entire community over in Anaheim. Are you ready to? I'm sure you've heard it by now, but if you haven't, Disneyland announced an entire expansion to not one of their parks, but both of their parks. And they've got concept art. They've got an entire website. It's disneylandforward.com. I'll link it down in the description below so you can check it out yourself. But we're going to go through the entire website right now so you guys can see everything that they're planning or everything that they're presenting to Anaheim. Now, none of this is approved. This is pure, speculation or pure planning. As of right now, and we all know that it's been difficult with Disneyland and Anaheim in the past with expanding Disneyland. They've had multiple hotels that were a go and set to, they closed Rainforest Cafe, they closed ESPN Zone, all that stuff to make way for a brand new hotel, and last minute it was shut down by Anaheim. But there's some reasons that I believe that this particular plan or what they're presenting to Anaheim is more likely to move forward this time, and I'll explain those as we're going through this. But without further ado, I let's just jump right into this and see everything that they're planning, everything that they release to us. So let's check it out. Look at this. How insane is this? This whole area right here, where my mouse is, all this is future plan. All this is what they plan on doing. So if you're unfamiliar with where this is in Disneyland, right here is the Disneyland Hotel. Over here is the Pixar Pier Hotel. And this is obviously the monorail. And this whole area along here is Downtown Disney. So they're planning, or they're proposing, to expand the park, both Disneyland and California Adventure, over into these areas. And there's a map and everything, so just wait until you see this. That just gives you an idea of where they're planning to expand both of their parks. So let's just start here. Imagine the possibilities. We want to bring more Disney investment to Anaheim. However, this simply isn't possible under current inflexible planning restrictions unless we replace treasured rides and attractions in our parks today. Disneyland is just so, there's so much history in Disneyland, and you can't really put new IP into that park without closing down treasured rides and retheming them. So this is a great move forward for Disneyland, so you can keep that history but also build upon all their new stuff, like Zootopia, Raya and the Last Dragon, Big Hero 6, and even older properties as well. So without updates, new Disney experiences and placemaking created from our beloved stories, we will likely never find their way to the Disneyland Resort as they have to other parks throughout the world. With Disneyland Forward and more flexibility within our existing properties, new lands and adventures like those underway at Tokyo Disney Sea and Shanghai Disneyland could inspire new experiences here. What? I never in my life thought that Disneyland in Anaheim, the original park, the very first park that Walt Disney created himself, would ever get any of the adventures and IP and experiences that these new parks overseas would be getting. Tokyo Disney Sea are arguably the best theme park in the entire world. You know, they're planning, or they want to bring some of that experience to Anaheim, the original park. I just every time I like hairs stand up on my arm when I think about this. So let's move down here and check. They have like actual concepts of things that they plan on, or are trying to, get an idea, or get have the idea, or put the idea or vision into your mind of what they would like to do with the park. So with Disneyland Forward and an updated approach, these existing new lands and attractions coming to Tokyo Disney Sea could be the perfect inspiration for the future of Disneyland Park. Frozen. Frozen is arguably the best and most popular Disney IP in this decade. And look, they could guest visit Arendelle, the home of Elsa and Anna, and explore this frozen land filled with a thrilling boat adventure as well as a restaurant set inside a castle. Imagine going to Arendelle in Disneyland, Anaheim. They have that already going on at Disney Sea. They're building Arendelle there, but imagine just being able to go to Disneyland and have that there. And this thrilling boat adventure seems a lot like Frozen Ever After at Epcot. And to be able to go to that in Anaheim, the original park, I can't even believe that. And it would be built from the ground up, so they could, in my opinion, even make it even better, because the one at Epcot, although amazing and great, it's still a retheme. So it was a ride before it was the Frozen Ever After. So they could even potentially build it better here. So that's something that they want to bring. Ooh, they want to bring a Tangled kind of land, Rapunzel's Tower, overlooking a charming forest where guests board gondolas to the Lantern Festival to live Rapunzel's best day ever with Flynn. A restaurant where she befriended a band of thieves in the film is also featured. So that's another expansion that they're planning. You got Rapunzel's Tower here. Now, Rapunzel's Tower is also in the Magic Kingdom over at Walt Disney World, but it's super small. So this one looks even bigger, and I'm, wondering if they would make it to where you can actually go in there and, maybe look around. I'm not sure. That's just speculation. They even got older IPs like Peter Pan. The Neverland area features 2 attractions. Okay, so this is an area that they've already, fleshed out, or they're further along on, the idea of this particular land. So this one features 2 attractions. One that, with the help of Tinkerbell, takes guests on a boat ride following the Lost Boys down a river, and the other taking guests on a journey to the middle of Pixie Hollow, where Tinkerbell and her fairy friends live. The area also includes a restaurant with spectacular views inspired by the Lost Boys' iconic hideout. That just sounds amazing. So let's keep these in mind, the Frozen, Tangled, and Peter Pan, and go up to the map and just kind of speculate where each thing could be. So up here, it looks like that would be the Disneyland area expansion. And then down here is the DCA expansion, Disney's California Adventure. So this part right here with the mountain, that looks a lot like Neverland. So I'm assuming, or that might be where the Peter Pan themed attractions could be. And then they got all these in here. This also looks like Neverland over in here. So this could be an entire piece right here, just Peter Pan. And then we move on over here. This kind of looks like a Space Mountain type ride right here. Uh, Man, this is just insane to me looking at this. So this is all just concept art here. And I don't think that this is completely fleshed out, like this is exactly what it would look like and everything is in place, because this is simply a proposal like I mentioned. So this is probably something that they just threw together in order to show people and show Anaheim this is what we want to do. And in no way is this set in stone, concept art of exactly what's going to be going there. Because they uh, showed the Frozen Ever After, or I'm sorry, the Tangled, and I don't see that tower, Rapunzel's tower in here anywhere, or maybe I just might be missing it, but I don't know. Insane. So let's keep going. See what else. Disney's newest adventure. So here's the Zootopia. Another thing that I don't see up there in that concept art. With updated approvals, Disney's California Adventure Park could be home to some of Disney's most technologically advanced, immersive, and cutting-edge entertainment, taking cues from these existing lands and attractions around the globe for inspiration. So they've got Zootopia currently underway over in, I believe it's Shanghai. Yeah, Shanghai Disneyland. They're working on Zootopia Land over there. So currently under construction at Shanghai Disneyland. Guests will be invited to experience the mammalian metropolis of Zootopia, where anyone can be anything. With a new major attraction that will seamlessly blend Disney's storytelling and state-of-the-art technology to bring this fan-favorite movie and its characters to life. So just imagine a Zootopia-themed land in the Disney's California Adventure area of the park expansion right there in Anaheim. Something that you would have to go overseas for to Shanghai Disneyland to see, but you can just get it at Anaheim. Insane, mind-blowing. Some more things. They got Toy Story Land that they want to bring over, and Tron. Tron? I mean, what is even the point at this time if they go through with all this? Both of these are at Walt Disney World. Hollywood Studios has Toy Story Land, and Tron is currently under construction at the Magic Kingdom. So if you got both of these attractions, land and that coaster here over at Anaheim, like there would be little reason or just less of a reason to have to go all the way to Florida. Toy Story Land. As part of Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida, guests shrink to the size of a toy and join in the fun in this toy-filled land inspired by Toy Story films. Guests can take a ride on Slinky Dog Dash, one of the best rides there, a roller coaster Andy assembled from his Mega Coaster Toys kit. They can also join the little green aliens as they swirl about in their rocket ship toys in the alien swirling saucers. The land also includes carnival games and a restaurant, Woody's Lunchbox. Insane. And then Tron, currently open at Shanghai Disneyland and under construction in the Magic Kingdom. The Tron Light Cycle Run roller coaster invites guests to sink the pedal to the Moto Metal while twisting and turning in the cyber-fi world in a high-speed race for survival. I just can't believe that they're proposing to bring all this stuff to the West Coast. That is not my home park because I'm here in Colorado, but I grew up going to Disneyland. Every year, I have a serious love for Disneyland Park. And although I love Disney World as well, Disneyland is just my home away from home. And if they could bring these attractions and lands, it would just blow me out of the water. All right, so check this out. This is a possibilities map and legend. So this is going to show you what I was talking about as far as where they're trying to build these expansions. With Disneyland Forward and updated approvals, the Disneyland Resort will continue to be an industry leader in bringing first of a kind offerings to Anaheim. So like I mentioned earlier, Disneyland hasn't had the best experiences with Anaheim and expanding Disneyland itself. Not to mention the area and the land that they have in Anaheim. Just residential property and other businesses has kind of blocked them into that area that they have there, so they can't really expand very much. There's a reason why I think that this particular moment and them proposing this to Disney or to Anaheim is different. I'll just go ahead and tell you why I think this could be different now as opposed to back then. 2 years ago, they tried to build this hotel, and at last minute got shut down by Anaheim. So reason number one why I think that this could be different is the pandemic. Obviously, shut down all of Anaheim and all of California. So I think that Disney now is, especially at the moment now when they're trying to, present this to Anaheim, they're trying to get Anaheim back together and trying to stimulate Anaheim as far as, getting people back in, and because tons of people lost their jobs, and as you all know, travel stopped, everything was shut down because of the pandemic, and it really put a deep fracture in the city of Anaheim. And I think that California, as well as Anaheim, learned just how important Disneyland is to that city and their overall growth and their overall, you know, taxing and revenue comes because people visit Disneyland. So Disney coming to Anaheim now about this makes me think that they could potentially get an approval on this, is to help stimulate Anaheim and get it back up to even better than what it was before the pandemic. It'll bring thousands upon thousands of new jobs. It'll bring tons of revenue to the city of Anaheim, and it couldn't have come at a better time. So I think it was very, strategically planned out by Disneyland to go ahead and propose this now. I believe that this may have been in the works for many years, but the pandemic has just sped up the process in wanting to present this to the city now, because there couldn't be a better time. My second reason is they're not asking for any money from the city of Anaheim. Usually when they propose something, they work together with the city and, tax dollars and other things because they're fronting a big part of the bill to build this and to bring more people in. And then Anaheim also works together and fronts some of the cash to build this stuff because of it's going to benefit them in the long run by bringing tourists, and they're getting a lot of tax money off of it and all that stuff. But they're not asking for any money from the city of Anaheim to build this huge expansion over in Anaheim. So that's a big deal because Anaheim is going to benefit off of this hugely in the future, in the indefinite future, by bringing more people in, and Disney not asking any money from the city to do this is huge because, it would be a no-brainer from the city because they're not having to build or put any money into this, but they're going to make money off of it in the long run. So those are two really big reasons why I think that Anaheim will go ahead and approve this, crossing our fingers. There's been tons of projects in the past that don't ever come to fruition because they have strong limitations there in California. So, not to get the hopes up right now, even though my hopes are super high right now, and I'm just crossing my fingers that this happens. Can never be too excited when it comes to Anaheim because stuff gets shot down all the time. So let's take a look at this map here. Here's Disneyland. Here's Disney's California Adventure. There's downtown Disney, as you know, and there's Disneyland Drive. So this whole area right here is the new expansion, and they may have underground tunnels or bridges or something to connect these two expansions of the park across Disneyland Drive or under Disneyland Drive. And that's a long way. So there would have to be some sort of theming inside of these tunnels to get you from one end to the other, because it can't just be a concrete tunnel. I don't think that they would ever do that. There would obviously be some heavy theming in these, kind of like when you're going into Galaxy's Edge over at Disneyland, up here in this corner. If you go in past Critter Country and then all the way back that way, there's a slow, amazing transition that brings you into Galaxy's Edge. The music changes and the lamps change all slowly and everything, and it's just amazing. I always enter Galaxy's Edge that way at Disneyland because I just love how it slowly brings you into that entire universe. So I believe that it would be the same thing through these two entry points to this expansion. So my other thing is, if you look at this expansion, it's supposed to be an expansion of Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. But I don't see any kind of gateway in between these two parks, so it looks like that you'd be able to freely go in between these two expansions, even though it's an expansion off of Disneyland, an expansion off of Disney's California Adventure. They are colored, the same. So California Adventure is all blue, you can see the blue, and Disney's all orange, and you can see the orange. So they are, separated by color, but just hear me out on this. I doubt that this would happen, but this is just kind of my mind speculating. Imagine if they took Disneyland, or imagine if they took Disney's California Adventure and completely did away with that name. It's not even a California Adventure anymore. When it first opened, yeah, it was California Adventure, and that was their kind of, pitch on that park was come to California Adventure and you don't have to go anywhere else in California because it's all here. It's not California Adventure anymore. They've completely changed that park into Cars Land, Pixar Pier, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, all of it. So it's Avengers Campus coming. So it's more Disneyland than California Adventure. And I even mentioned this on some of my social media platforms. When are they going to change the name of Disney's California Adventure? Because it's not California Adventure anymore, in my opinion. So what if they got rid of that name and then they just called it Disneyland? And this entire park was one park, and it was all Disneyland, with two ways to enter Disneyland: through the Disney's California Adventure area and the normal entrance. And then you have this expansion down here now that will connect the two parks, or in this case connect Disneyland. So this entire everything is all Disneyland, no separate park. In my opinion, I would love that. Everyone, I don't know how others would feel about that. Like, oh, they're moving it just to one park, so we're all going to have one park now. Well, it's not even like that. This is basically three parks, but just down to one. Because this, if you look at the size of this expansion, it's almost bigger than California Adventure. It's more elongated and not as wide, but it's still pretty big. So if they made this entire area just one park, Disneyland, and they maybe charged you for a more of a price, obviously they would have to, because it would just make the size of Disneyland so much bigger. I think that would be the only reason why they wouldn't do that, is because the price to get in would be astronomical. With a park of that size, they would have to charge a lot of money for that. But it was just an idea. So let's keep going here before I get off on another soapbox. So that is, the possible immersive theme park could include hotel, retail, dining, and entertainment. So here's another thing here. A new kind of Disney entertainment could include theme park, hotel, retail, dining, and entertainment. So I thought this was absolutely amazing too. If you've been to Walt Disney World, you know how amazing Disney Springs is and how ginormous it is compared to downtown Disney. The same idea. It's got restaurants, shopping, and all that. It's free to get into, just like downtown Disney. And they're planning on doing something along the lines of Disney Springs over in Anaheim. This property could be the perfect location to cater to locals, conventioneers, hotel, and Disneyland resort guests with restaurants, hotels, live music, shopping, ticketed shows, and theme park experiences modeled after the popular Disney Springs at Walt Disney World Resort. So that's the concept art for that right here. You got a big lagoon right here in the middle of the shopping area, just like Disney Springs. And it looks like this entire area is a hotel that wraps around the entire shopping district. You'll have new restaurants in there, and this will be free to get into. If you're going to a convention across the street, D23, anything, any convention, you can just go right over to this new Disney Springs, whatever they decide to call it, or downtown Disney. They could rename it, or rename this to the new downtown Disney. You could come here, eat, and just enjoy the Disney experience without having to pay the price to get into a park, a lot like downtown Disney and Disney Springs over in Walt Disney World. So parking and transportation. A lot of you might be wondering, well, what about parking? Because if you look at this concept art right here, this whole mountainous area right here is where parking structure is currently. And then over here is parking as well. So you're like, well, where are they going to fit everybody? Down here they have also on the legend where parking could go. Possible new parking, right in the middle of where this new Disney Springs or downtown Disney area could be, as well as a bridge that leads over to Harbor Boulevard where you can get into the parks. To support future development over the next few decades, Disney plans to significantly invest in transportation, parking, transit, and pedestrian safety measures to improve mobility throughout the Anaheim Resort. In the future, Disney envisions creating a new parking destination on the east side of the Anaheim Resort, which could include a pedestrian bridge with upgraded entrance accessibility for hotels and businesses located along Harbor Boulevard. In addition, Disney will continue to work with the area businesses and the city to invest in and encourage the use of public transit and ride sharing for all cast and guests. They're on top of it. They know that they need to have parking and transportation, so you could see it right there. They would build a new parking structure right here with that bridge that leads over to Harbor Boulevard, and then you've got all this existing parking already, which if they needed more parking, they could build up on these parking structures. So this was the the news that they dropped yesterday. Insane amount of information. And I mean, if you just take a step back and you think about each one of these possibilities that they can bring over to Anaheim, the original Disneyland, your mind just explodes in excitement and the possibilities. And I mean, when I first saw this yesterday, they said future plans for Disneyland. I was just like, oh, what are they going to do? Build another hotel or propose another hotel? And then I actually went in and I saw all this. I crumbled and I was like, there's no way that this could be real. It's hard not to get your hopes up in this situation. It's hard not to get excited about this kind of thing. But you kind of have to keep your thoughts and your, excitement in a little shell, because this is in its very, very early stages. In the weeks, months, yes, even years coming, they are going to be proposing this to the city of Anaheim. And until the city of Anaheim approves them to work on a new project, we just don't know if it's ever going to come true. Keep your excitement in a jar until everything is official. I invite you to take a look at this for yourself, and I appreciate every single one of you for coming along with me and talking about this with me. Leave your comments down below. Tell me what you're most excited for, anything that I missed in this concept art that you see, anything at all. I'd love to have a conversation with you in the comments down below about this. Disneyland, Disney in general, is a passion of mine. I grew up over in Disneyland, so being able to talk with you guys on this particular subject would make my day, make any of my days in the future. So please leave your comments down below. Make sure you like this video as well. It would help me out significantly. It would help the channel out, and I hope that I have earned your subscription. Please subscribe. I'm going to be doing videos on this particular subject moving forward. Any new information that we get, any kind of approvals from the city of Anaheim, I'll be dropping videos on this until for years to come. If this gets approved, construction updates, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you're subscribed and hit that notification bell icon so you're always notified when I drop a new video. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I sincerely appreciate every single one of you. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Later.